The following podcast may contain adult language and explicit content. Parental discretion is advised. Hello, my name is Jonathan Mays. Thank you for clicking on my podcast. This is going to be episode 25, Uncle Johnny Takes a Knee. I've been trying to do this episode for the last several days. And because of work and because of babysitting children and because of just trying to sleep at some point in between, I haven't had much time. So that's why you haven't had an episode of Johnny Knows Best in like almost 2 weeks. But I actually think it's been like 13 days. But today you have a new episode. It's called Uncle Johnny Takes a Knee. It's going to be, I got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to talk about it right now, so hit the intro music.
One, two, three into the four. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door, ready to make an entrance, so back on up, cause you know we're about to rip shit up. Give me the microphone first so I can bust like a bubble. Compton and Long Beach together, now you know you in trouble. Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. Too low death niggas, so we're crazy. Death Row is the label that pays me. Unfadable, so please don't try to fake this. But back to the lecture at hand. Perfection is perfected, so I'ma let them understand from a young G's perspective. And before me dig on a bitch, I have to find a contraceptive. You never know, she could be earning her man and learning her man, and at the same time burning her man. Now you know I ain't with that shit, Lieutenant. Ain't no pussy good enough to get burned while I'm offended. And that's realer than real deal, Holyfield. And now you hookers and hoes know how I feel. Well, if it's good enough to get broke off a proper chunk, I take a small piece of some of that funky stuff. It's like this and like that and like this and it's like that and like this and like that and it's like this and like that and like this and Drake creep to the mic like a fan. Well, I'm peeping and I'm creeping and I'm.
But I damn near got caught because my beeper kept beeping. Oh, that's that old nothing but a G thing. Y'all don't know anything about that. Anyway, it is Tuesday, September 26th, 2017, and this is Johnny Knows Best. I'm your host, Jonathan Mays. What up, fam? How you doing? Thank you for clicking on my podcast. Thank you for listening to the show. Today's episode, this is going to be episode 25, Uncle Johnny Takes a Knee. That's the title of the episode. And, I want to apologize because I was supposed to put out an episode last week. This episode was supposed to drop. I think I even had like a different title for it. But, like I said, work and other stuff got in the way, and, I actually didn't even get to record an episode last week at all. And then I was supposed to do one this past weekend. I actually had a guest lined up. The last 2 weekends I've had guests lined up. And, because of work and because of other stuff, I couldn't do it. But, I actually managed. I'm at home today by myself for the first time in almost 2 weeks. So I actually managed to, be able to record an episode. It's going to be probably a shorter episode, but that's okay as long as I can get one out. And then I'm going to try to get out episode 26, hopefully by the end of the week, hopefully. I can't promise you an episode, because every time I promise you an episode, I'm not able to deliver. But I hope all of y'all that are listening are doing okay. I hope everybody, is doing alright. As usual, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, a lot of crazy stuff going on in our country right now. We're on the verge of war with North Korea because they said that our president has declared war against them, and they said something like, if there's any U.S. planes or, helicopters or anything in their airspace, they're going to shoot us now because and then, that'll be some shit, and then we'll actually end up going to war with North Korea. We're on the verge of doing that. They're trying to talk to these people and calm them down, but our president has riled them up so much that they ready to go to war. So this time, next week, who knows what else is going to happen this week. So we got the thing going on with North Korea, and if all this other shit wasn't bad enough that's going on with them, then we got stuff going on in our own country, this whole NFL take a knee thing. That Colin Kaepernick started about a couple of months ago, or several months ago, about not standing for the national anthem. And a lot of people were boycotting the NFL because of that. Or because of, at first people were boycotting because of the NFL owners, they were saying that they were blackballing Colin Kaepernick and not hiring him for a job. So a lot of people were boycotting the NFL because of that. Because it seemed like none of the owners or none of the teams were standing up for him. And then our wonderful president, who may be the only person in America more petty and likes to start more trouble than me, it might be Donald J. Trump. He's something else. This guy, so he's speaking at Alabama last week, and he decides to say that anybody that won't stand for the national anthem is a son of a bitch and they should be fired. On any NFL team, they should be fired. The son of a bitches should be fired. Those were his words. I'm not paraphrasing. That's what the president of the United States, of our great United States, that's what he said. And as usual, Trump saying that made the situation a whole lot worse than it was. And it already was bad. There's already racial tension, and to say the least, in America right now. With the stuff that went down in Charlottesville a couple months ago, and all the protests, the Black Lives Matter, everything that's going on. There's already tension between black people and white people, and Donald Trump comes on and says that all these players that are protesting, they should just be fired, and calls them son of a bitches. And so that was just, this guy is basically like gas on a fire. It riled everybody up so much that now the whole NFL basically is revolting against Trump. And, then this past weekend we had so many different players, owners, people like Jerry Jones and other people that said they would never kneel. All these people are taking the knee now just so they can go against Donald Trump. A lot of people are doing it just to spite Trump, though. A lot of people that are kneeling now during the national anthem or before the national anthem, they're not doing it for the same reasons that Colin Kaepernick was kneeling in the first place. Colin Kaepernick, he was kneeling because he felt he was trying to bring attention to all the racial injustices, police brutality, and a lot of things that are going wrong in the country. He was trying to bring attention to that. That's why he was kneeling. That's why he was taking the knee. Now, a lot of other people are taking the knee just to go against Donald Trump, just to get publicity for their teams. It's not the same thing. A lot of people are still doing it for the right reasons. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people are doing it for the right reasons, but there's just as many people doing it for the wrong reasons as people that are doing it for the right reasons. And now it's becoming more difficult to know who's doing this for the right reasons and who's doing the kneeling for the wrong reasons. But it seems to be a thing, at least it was over the weekend and also last night on Monday Night Football, this whole kneeling situation. I don't know, man. I initially agreed with Colin Kaepernick on on him taking the knee during the national anthem. I agree with that. But then when the people were saying that he was blackballed and people were speaking out against him and people were saying, oh, I'm going to boycott the NFL. I'm not going to watch the NFL. I never was down with that because I love football. I love football since I could walk. I've loved football. I'm a big football fan. I've talked about that on this show many times. I'm a Detroit Lions fan. I'm a Alabama Crimson Tide fan. By the way, Alabama defeated Vanderbilt 59-0 Saturday. But I'll get into that later. But, you know, I'm a big fan of football. So there was no way that I was going to boycott football during the NFL season just because of the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. I agreed with him. I agreed with the reasons why he was doing what he was doing. I just don't know if I 100% agreed with the method that he was using. I never thought that taking the knee during the national anthem was going to do anything but upset these people. And now people are saying that the people that are taking a knee for the national anthem are people that don't like the country. They don't like the national anthem. They don't like the flag. They don't respect the flag. They don't respect the president. And it has nothing to do with the national anthem. It has nothing to do with the flag. This whole thing has nothing to do with the president. You know, even though he's a little out there, he's kind of, you know, I'm not going to say any bad things about Donald Trump because that would really piss some people off. But, you know, it doesn't have anything to do with him. He interjected himself into this whole situation by the comments he made in Alabama. And here in Alabama, of all places. And it upset a lot of people. You know, here where I'm at, and a lot of people around the world and around the country, I guess. I guess the world, sometimes I wonder, what do these other countries think about America when they look at us and see how we're basically now, we are arguing about whether or not you should take a knee during a football game, and whether or not you got to stand during the national anthem. It's kind of ridiculous when you think about it. That this is a big deal in the country right now. But it is. I just wish as many people cared about racial injustice and police brutality as they do about the national anthem and the flag. If people will come out of the woodwork and talk about racial injustice and talk about, you know, police brutality and the systematic killing of black people and people of any color, not just black people, but any kind of minorities, Spanish people, you know, Arab people, you know, anybody that's going through it, the world would be a better place. But I think the majority of people that are not of color, because they can't relate to what's going on. And that's not everybody, because a lot of people who are not of color do relate to what's going on. They do understand it fully. Even though they haven't been persecuted or haven't went through some of the experiences that we have, they understand, you know, how important it is to have the freedom of speech. I know one of my Facebook friends, Rory McAllister, a guy that used to be in the WWE as part of the Highlanders, he wrote this long Facebook post last night saying how he wasn't born in this country. He's a native of this country. And he fully agrees that you should stand up during the national anthem and stand up for the flag, but he doesn't hold anything against anyone that doesn't, because he can't relate to being persecuted or to what it feels like, you know, to experience injustice. He can't relate to that. So he doesn't fault anybody. He doesn't fault Colin Kaepernick or anybody else for kneeling because of that. And I just really thought his Facebook post, I shared it on my page, if you can go down and find it. I thought it says a lot for a guy that's not from this country that can understand, that point of view, because a lot of people in this country right now, they just can't. They just don't want to see the other side of it. They don't want to see that maybe Colin Kaepernick is right. So they say that he hates the country. They say that he's a communist. They say that, if you don't like this country, leave it. And like I posted yesterday, it's not that some of us don't like the country and don't love being Americans and don't love being in America. We do. But America doesn't always love us. That would have been a good title for an episode, actually. And that's how we feel. That's how it feels as a black man. I'll tell you a story real quick. I was walking home last night, Monday night, from work, from Applebee's. I kind of had a rough night. And I was very, upset. And I was walking home. Like, I normally don't walk home. My sister comes. My sister, Jennifer May, shout out to her, my co-host, who's not here on the show today, but hopefully she'll be on the show later on in the week. But I just want to go ahead and put an episode up. That's why I didn't wait for Jenny. She's working. She works multiple jobs. But anyway, I usually wait for Jennifer to pick me up. But last night I decided to walk home. And because of my decision to do that, I was upset. And I happened to be walking on the wrong side of the road. You know how you're supposed to walk against the traffic? I was actually walking the way that the traffic goes. And this was late. It was like 1 something in the morning. It's like 1:30 in the morning. And, of course, the police, doing their job, actually stopped me. And I said, I'm about to get hassled by the police. If you're a black person, especially if you're a black male, then you know how it is when the police stops you. Even if you've done nothing wrong, you start to say, am I going to go to jail? Am I going to get, beat up? Am I going to get shot? Because I'm 34 years old, but that happens to black people all the time. That's what we fear. We fear the police more than we fear people jumping us or people attacking us. It's just the truth. I hate to say it, but that's the truth. I'm going to get back to this story, but I can tell you another story from on my 20th birthday when I turned 20 years old. On my birthday that morning, I was walking from my house. Again, this is another time I was walking. Most of the time, even though I do drive sometimes, most of the time shit happens to me, it's always when I'm walking somewhere. But I was walking from my house on one street to my aunt's house on the next street. And I got stopped on my 20th birthday and got hassled by the police because I fit the description. I'm doing quotation marks. You can't see it because this is a podcast. But I fit the description of another black guy. And they hassled me. And getting back to this story that I'm telling now. Last night, because of all the times I've been stopped by the police, all the times I've been hassled by the cops, I thought that was going to happen again. And this young white guy got out, and I immediately, whether you've done anything wrong or not, you start to fear that. You're afraid of it. Anyway, this young white cop was a white guy, so immediately too, I've actually been hassled by black cops too. It's not just always white cops. There's this particular cop in Enterprise. She's a black woman. A lot of y'all know her. If you listen to the show and you live in Enterprise, you know what I'm talking about. She hassled me one time until I made her realize who I was, because I used to work at McDonald's on overnight and I would see her all the time. And when I made her realize who I was, she stopped hassling me. But she was giving me a hard time one night because I was walking from the nursing home to my house. And she was on my case. She didn't believe my story of I'm just walking home. I have brain cysts, so I'm not really supposed to drive, especially at night. I'm not supposed to drive. I do drive. I'll go ahead and say that, admit that on the podcast. Hope that doesn't get me in trouble. But I actually do drive sometimes. But my main mode of transportation from point A to point B is to walk most of the time. A lot of people that know me in real life know that. And so, like I said, last night when I was walking home from work, this young white cop stopped me. He got out of the car. This guy couldn't have been more than he couldn't have been 23, 24. He looked like he was in high school still. He was so young. And I didn't get his name, but a really nice guy. He talked to me, he told me why he had stopped, because I was on the wrong side of the road, that he wasn't going to give me a ticket, which I greatly appreciated, because, I had a bad night at work, and that would have been the cherry on the damn Sunday if I would have got a damn ticket for walking home. He said, I'm not going to give you a ticket, I'm just going to let you know, you're not supposed to be on this side of the road. You got to cross and get on the other side. And he said, I got to run your ID and stuff to make sure you don't have any warrants. Which, that's something they do too. And I don't care if you're innocent, completely innocent. You don't have any warrants. If you've never been arrested. When they say they're going to run your ID, you always get scared. Like, damn, what if something pops up? And what if it's like a clerical error or something? And I go to jail anyway. And I knew I didn't have any damn warrants. But you always worry about it. I think that's just something, that might not even be a black thing. That might just be something of dealing with the cops thing. I don't know. Somebody that's not black has to tell me that for sure. But he ran my ID and came back clean, thank God. I didn't think it wouldn't come back clean. I'm just saying. But then the dude, he goes, we started talking and he said, okay, you're clean, you're free to go. And we started talking. He asked me, he said, you had a bad night at work? And I told him, yeah, I had a bad night. And that, my boss pissed me off. This might get me in trouble too, but I don't really give a shit. I'm Jonathan, I'm petty. My boss, he said, or one of my managers anyway, said something that was kind of messed up, and that's what it pissed me off, and it set me off the rest of the night. It was way earlier. This was like around 6:30 when my manager said the shit that he said, but at 1:30, it's still on my mind. And, cause that's how I am when I get pissed off. I'll be pissed off a whole day, or at least a whole 12 hours before I even calm down. That's how it was last night. And I told him, about what had happened to me. I told the cop about what had happened. And we started talking. And I asked him, how long have you been a police officer? Was it hard to get into the academy? Not that I'm thinking about being a police officer. I know they will never let me do it because of my brain cysts and my seizures. I probably went past the medicals, I don't think. I don't know what are the clarification. He was explaining it to me. And how you have to take the test and then the police test, and you have to go to the academy for 2 or 3 months, and it's about 8-9 month process to become a police officer here in Dothan. But so I was talking about that, and then we got to be talking about, I thanked him for being so nice, because I told him, a lot of times my experience with dealing with the police, it doesn't go the way that it went last night. Sometimes it can be very unpleasant, especially if they don't believe you. But see, I had 2 Applebee's cups and an Applebee's hat. So, it's not like my story was that unbelievable. But, for all you know, though, I could have stole that. Who knows? But this guy was very nice to me. We got talking about police brutality and the stuff that's going on in the country. And this guy, this young white guy, I didn't get his name, but he was a young white guy in Dothan, Alabama. I'm probably going to be walking on the wrong side of the road again, so I might run into him again. But no, I'm gonna try to walk. If I walk home tonight or any other night, I'm gonna try to walk on the other side this time. I'm not, trying to get, in trouble. But this cop was telling me about, even though, he always stands for the national anthem, he thinks that players should stand for the national anthem, NFL players, but he understands why they're kneeling, that it has nothing to do with the national anthem or the flag or disrespecting the president, that it's about all the racial inequalities and all the racial injustices and everything that's going on. He understands that. This cop, this young 20-something-year-old white cop, I don't feel like he's a bad cop. He was a really good cop, a really good police officer. And I actually think I shook his hand and thanked him. And I actually felt a whole lot better after running into this cop. So the point of that whole long ass story that took up most of the show is there are some good police officers out there. Not every white police officer is bad. Not every black police officer is bad. Not every police officer is crooked. There are some good police. But there are also some bad ones too. And part of the reason why Colin Kaepernick was kneeling in the first place was because of the bad police officers. And I'm glad that the good police officers can realize that there are some bad eggs out there. Sorry about that. I just had to type something on Facebook. If somebody said something. What I think the main problem in the country is? It's not even black people. It's not even like a racial problem. I think the main problem is everybody has their opinion. Everybody has their perspective. But I think one of the main problem is we can't see. The majority of people refuse to see things from somebody else's point of view. The majority of people are not like this cop that I met last night. And they just want to see things one way. A lot of white people just want to see militant black people as people that hate the country and that hate everything. Probably some of them do hate the president, but it was the other way around when Obama was president. A lot of people hated Obama. But I don't think just because you hate Obama, you hate all black people. And it seems like people refuse to meet other people in the middle. People refuse to see other points of view. So that's the main issue. Nobody wants to look at things from someone else's perspective. We all see things through our eyes, but we don't want to see things through someone else's eyes. We don't want to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes. That is the main problem that's wrong, maybe in the world, maybe not even the country, maybe in the whole world. What if North Korea could see, things from our perspective, they maybe wouldn't want to nuke us, and vice versa. I think that people have got to get better at that. The human race, or we're gonna wipe each other out. We have to start looking at things differently and saying things differently and not getting offended by every damn thing. That's another thing that's going on right now. A lot of people are getting offended by every little damn thing. Stuff on television, stuff on social media. I think a lot of people are being way too sensitive about this whole kneeling during the national anthem thing, because I don't think it doesn't have anything to do with hating your country just because you're trying to make a point. And people are just people take stuff, you give somebody a couple of inches, they'll take it and run 5 miles with it. Happens to me every day on Facebook when I'm trying to say something, and somebody will get on my post and comment and write 3 paragraphs about some shit that I didn't say and try to argue with me about some shit that I didn't say. I hate that. I hate when people do that. It happens all the time, homie. All the time. And, you know, I just get tired of it. I just wish sometimes people would see what you post or see what you say and just take what you say or what you write as face value. Don't try to read stuff into it. Don't be so confrontational just because someone says something and you don't agree with it. Why can't we all just agree to disagree? But that's not how the world is. Nobody wants to agree to disagree. Nobody wants to see things from someone else's point of view. We all want people to think like we want. Because a lot of us have never been, a lot of you have never been racially persecuted or stopped by the police, or you never had anybody in your family attacked by the police, or you never had anybody in your family hassled for being black or being a different color or being a different race. There's a lot of people that have never experienced any kind of racism at all. They might think they have, but they really haven't. And so they don't relate to it. If you can't relate to something, you're not going to try to understand it. Most people are not. A lot of people are intelligent, and they will. There are some intelligent people that try. Like this cop last night that I met. Like myself, I always try to see things from the other perspective. I've tried to see things from the people that don't agree with the kneeling and the people that are saying that you should stand for the national anthem. I think that what Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys did last night was probably the smartest thing. Even though I hate the Dallas Cowboys, I'm not a Dallas Cowboys fan. I never will be. But I think what they did made the biggest statement, because they kneeled. They took a knee before the national anthem, and then when the national anthem started, they stood up. And I think that maybe that sends a better message that this shit has nothing to do with the national anthem, and it has nothing to do with the flag. It's not about that. If you think it's about that, you're wrong. And there were people sharing this fake Facebook post about how all the Pittsburgh Steelers, because I think all of the Pittsburgh Steelers were like one player, and he was a vet, and he refused to not stand for the national anthem. But all the rest of the Pittsburgh Steelers, he stayed in the locker room during the national anthem to make a statement. They didn't want to take a knee, but they didn't want to come out for it. And they're being criticized. Fans are going ape shit. Pittsburgh Steelers fans, and they're burning their jerseys, and which to me is crazy as hell, considering how much jerseys cost, how much a lot of this NFL shit costs for you to go out and burn it and destroy it. And a month from now, you'll be back on the bandwagon of your team, but you don't burned your shit already. It's stupid. I don't have money like that to waste, homie. I can't be burning shit. There's no way. I'm trying to get my Detroit Lions stuff up. I don't have a lot of Detroit Lions merchandise, but this winter I plan on getting me some hoodies, a jacket, a hat or two, so I can represent for the Detroit Lions. I got plenty of Alabama stuff, but I don't have a lot of Detroit Lions stuff, so I want to do that. But if at any time the Lions do something or the Alabama does something, I'm not burning anything. I'm not burning any of their memorabilia. I can't say the word. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not burning any of their stuff. I refuse to do that. That's just me. That's just my own personal thing. If you disagree, then that's you. If you want to burn to me, you're not, if you burn any of your memorabilia, any of your like jerseys and stuff, you're not a real fan of that team, because there's no way I would do that ever. That's just me. I don't agree with that. I don't understand that. There's all these videos now, people doing that. But to me, you're a bandwagoner if you would do that, because any diehard fan would never do that. And I think even if you're on a team, even if you're a fan of a team that I hate, like the Auburn Tigers or the Dallas Cowboys or what's another team I don't really care for, New York Giants or New England Patriots or Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears, I don't think you're burning any of your stuff. You might not want to wear it if you're a real diehard fan, but I don't think just because they're kneeling for the national anthem, I don't think you're going to want to try to destroy any of your stuff. At least I don't think so. There are people that are doing it apparently. But I don't know, man. People they take stuff too far. This whole national anthem, kneeling, protesting, boycotting, it's gone way too far, man. We just gotta enjoy our football. Football is supposed to be fun. And y'all are taking a lot of the fun out of it by interjecting politics into it. I agree with Colin Kaepernick. I agree with fighting racial injustice and racial inequality. But football should just be football. And that part I do agree with when the other side is saying that. I do agree with that. Football shouldn't have anything to do with this. The president should be fighting against this shit. Instead of doing all the crazy stuff he's doing, he should be the one that's like, wanting to take a knee during the national anthem. But if you've seen videos of Trump and pictures of Trump, he doesn't even put his hand over his heart when which is kind of weird considering, all the stuff he said in the last week or so. He doesn't even put his hand over his heart for the national anthem or the pledge. I noticed that. I don't know if a lot of y'all have, but I have. Something is off about Donald Trump. I don't know what it is. There's a wild theory that he's a time traveler named John Titor, and he's from the future, and he came back to the past to stop a nuclear war. If you think I'm making that up and I just pull that out of my ass, I suggest that you YouTube it. There's several videos on this, and some people have written a lot of pages about how Donald Trump is not from this time. And because he's so unusual, there's so many the fact that he became president is strange to me. It has nothing to do with disliking the guy or not believing in him. It's more so of just the path that he took from being a businessman to a reality star to in the highest office in the country. It's a very unusual story. And wouldn't it make sense if this guy is from the future and he's been manipulating events to position himself in the White House? And he could do that. If you're from the future, you could manipulate things to make it where you become president. I'm just saying. I'm not saying Donald Trump is from the future. I'm not going that far with it. But if you ever watch one of these John Titor YouTube videos, there is something to this shit. You just gotta watch it. It's crazy, dude. A lot of things that are going on right now in the country are crazy. But everything, I don't know. I think everything will work out in the end, or it won't work out and we're screwed. But this is the time that we all should be united, especially if we're dealing with North Korea, because they don't care. They don't care if they nuke black people, white people, Republicans, Democrats, Trump supporters, people that hate Trump. They don't give a shit about that. They want to kill us all. Or maybe not they, but at least Kim does, the dictator, that douche. He doesn't care about, our personal differences. So this is a time that we all should come together and put shit aside and be united. And we're more divided than ever. And I'm just worried about it. I'm worried about the country. I'm worried about the presidency. I'm worried about the fact that I can't say memorabilia. I almost said it then. But I don't know, man. And then I'm just dealing with a lot personally. Like I said, my manager, he said some fucked up mess last night. Pissed me off. And I'm just trying to get through it all. I know a lot of us are. We're just trying to get through it all and make it through, till our days off where we can relax, or make it to payday when we can go buy something. Get us a little drink, get us some cookies, and just chill out. And that's why it's great to be American. I've said a lot of things on today's episode, but I'm a proud American. I love America. I love the country. I love the fact that I can go and buy any kind of Oreo that I want and nobody will stop me. I love that. I love the fact that I can be petty on Facebook all day long and nobody will stop me. I love the fact that, I can make fun of the Auburn Tigers. I love that. I love being American. I love being an Alabama fan. I'm liking being a Detroit fan. I think they should have beat Atlanta. I think the referees and they robbed us, but that's nothing new. And I love being a wrestling fan. I love pro wrestling. I've decided that when I do these episodes, I'm gonna just talk about wrestling in the last few minutes because a lot of people don't care about wrestling. Wrestling is more down than ever. Live attendance is down. The viewership is down. Guys like Brock Lesnar only show up a couple times a year. And, John Cena, he's doing this Bumblebee movie. He's about to go away. And things are just not where they should be on wrestling. Raw, I watched Raw last night, or this morning, I should say, on my phone. Because I was at work last night. And it just wasn't that great. I didn't really find it that entertaining. I like to watch a lot of the Bullet Club and New Japan stuff. That's entertaining to me. That's entertaining wrestling. A lot of the WWE stuff, I'm just not entertained by nowadays. I'm going to be honest with you. I watched No Mercy, WWE No Mercy over the weekend. And there were a few matches. The tag team match where Cesaro lost his teeth. And a couple of other matches. John Cena and Roman Reigns, that was pretty good. But the Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman match was a big disappointment. A lot of the other matches were a big disappointment. It's just hard being a WWE fan. It's as hard being a WWE fan right now as it is being an American. And it's not that you don't love the WWE, just like it's not that you don't love America, but it's hard to be, that's a good status. It's not that I don't love the WWE, so sometimes the WWE doesn't love me back. That's a great status. I think I'm going to post that right now when I get done with this. But anyway, thank you for listening to episode 25. This has been Uncle Johnny, because I am Uncle Johnny. I got a niece and nephew. Uncle Johnny takes a knee, because I have taken a knee, and I'm boycotting. I'm just boycotting stupid ass people. I'm tired of stupid ass ignorant people that don't try to see other points of view. They just only see their point of view because they got their head up their ass. But thank you for listening. Follow me on Spreaker, share my post share my show on Facebook, and go follow me on YouTube. Johnny Knows Best. I gotta figure out how to sign into my Facebook account. My Johnny Knows Best account. But thank you for listening, and I'm going to holler at you guys later this week. Episode 26 should be coming out before the end of the week. Hopefully with my co-host Jennifer or a guest. I'll holler. I'm out.
for me to make my impression felt. So sit back, relax, and strap on your seatbelt. You've never been on a ride like this before, with a producer who can rap and control.